Wade Wilson was recently sentenced to death for the unaliving of Diane Ruiz and Christine Melton, the two Cape Coral women who tragically died at the hands of this human poop stain, Wade Wilson. There's been a series of jailhouse call leaks that have recently been released online. They're really disturbing. I wanted to start at the beginning of all this. Start with the first jailhouse call recording, at least that was leaked to my knowledge, where he's confessing to the crimes. Hello, 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 and welcome to Alexasrewm, where we are not lawyers, we are not medical professionals, we are not law enforcement, we are just people who have opinions about all things going on in the true crime community, including this is the first jailhouse call that I'm aware of that was leaked of him confessing to his father of the unalivings. Again, I want to give a trigger warning. It's pretty disturbing, the things he says, but I think his father asks a lot of really good questions like, what's your issue with women? And I think, again, we can use this as a cautionary tale for all people going forward, that just because somebody seems nice on the outside doesn't mean that's who they really are on the inside. And we all just need to be a little bit more aware and precautious going out in the real world, because you never know when you might run into a Wade Wilson.
This call, you will hear Wade confess to his dad. Take a listen.
Hey, Dad.
What's up, boy?
Hey, I just wanted to call you so you know that this is the number. They were just, this is the only time they give me the phone. I'm still in the,
Did they come talk to you last night?
They did, and apparently they had already got the body at like 1 o'clock. They just wanted to come talk to me so they could fucking, so I would admit to it.
Yeah, and when I walked out of visitation, my wife, she was in the truck, and she found that she had gotten an alert of a news story. They said they had found her at like 1:30, and they didn't announce it, I guess, until 6 o'clock or whatever. But they still haven't come out and identified her.
Oh, really? They haven't?
They said no. They said that they couldn't identify her. They needed the medical examiner.
How awful is that too, is to know that like your loved one could be anywhere, could be missing. I think her family did report her as missing. Diane Ruiz they're specifically talking about, I believe.
To do it.
You're kidding me. Holy shit.
Nope.
Yeah.
Was it that bad, son?
It was that bad, Dad. I mean, I ran over her with a fucking car 100 times, I mean, that's the part that made it bad right there. It wasn't bad until that happened, and then it got bad.
But, listen, I know the calls are recorded and all that, but I was sitting here working and I was thinking about it.
Yeah.
And it's really bothering me. But this is what I just don't understand.
Do you hear him too? Wade's like, what happened? He's like so dim and so unaware of the gravity. And even still, like you hear him like reacting to certain things that his father's telling him, because his dad is getting kind of like updates here and there that maybe he's not privy to necessarily. I don't think at this point he necessarily had an attorney. I don't even know if he was officially charged with anything at this point, but he was definitely arrested. And he's just like, really? Like, it was bad. Like, I'm a bad kid. It gives like that weird I'm in trouble dad vibes when you're a kid and you take their car joyriding with your friends and you go into the city and you do delinquent things. Like, that's the vibe that he gives me, because he doesn't understand the gravity of the situation that he's really in, and more so the gravity of the crimes that he just committed.
Like, why to that extreme? You know what I'm saying? Like, what happened to make it to that extreme, son?
I don't know.
What are you angry with, dude? What are you angry about? You know what I'm saying? What are you fucking angry about? Especially with women. Like, what are you angry at women for?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
I don't know either, dude. It bothers me.
I need to figure it out. I do.
Like, that's such a BS answer too. He's like, I don't know, I'll figure it out. Like, I gotta, like, he gives such dim responses. And these are genuine questions, and these are all questions that I would ask too. And like, kudos to his father, because he's He's like, "What happened in your life? I wanna actually genuinely understand, like, was it something I did?" As we know, Wade was adopted. Wade's father and biological mother had him when they were very young, and they couldn't take care of the child, which is understandable. He got adopted by these churchgoers, Candace, and I forget what his father's name, excuse me. At the moment, I'm forgetting what his name is. And they were apparently loving parents. Like, he had a normal childhood, to say the least. So, I mean, again, like, these are all questions that I would be asking if, God forbid, like, my own child was in this situation and committed a terrible, heinous act. And kudos to Steve, because I can't even imagine what this is like for him.
You do need to figure it out.
I know.
But, I just don't. Did you stab that first girl?
Did I stab her? No.
You
No.
choked her.
Yeah, just choked her. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. So the blood you had all over you was from.
And like I know I'm stopping it a lot too, but like, you see how he minimizes it as well too? Like, oh, I only choked her. Like, I only did this, so it wasn't that bad. Well, nonetheless, dude, she's still not alive. You still took something away from her that she'll never get back, and that's life. That's the gift of life. You'll never be able to bring her back to life to her family. She will never get to see them again. They will never get to see her again. And same thing with Diane Ruiz. I mean, it's absolutely disturbing and bone chilling.
The second girl.
It might have been. Yeah. Either that or it was my own. Blood, because I had climbed a couple fences and stuff like that, and I got blood. I cut myself. But I don't know if
And
it was. Yeah.
this Tommy guy, is he the guy that from the Keys?
Yeah, he is. What?
Yeah, he was on the news. He was on the news last night, just saying, that you were a monster. And,
he talked about me on He talked about me on the news. It was that big.
Yeah, and he compared you to Ted Bundy.
You're kidding me, bro.
No, because Ted Bundy's good-looking kid,
Yeah.
and he was charming, and the women liked him, and
that was also Mila's ex. Her ex.
That's what he said, or the news said, or whatever. But listen.
Notice how he's like, wow, they're like comparing me to Ted Bundy. Like, that's some kind of badge of honor. Like, he's trying to play it like he's shocked, but he actually likes it. He loves the attention, Wade, because he constantly, you'll notice throughout listening to all these jailhouse calls, that he loves the attention. And it's so bizarre to me because we know the Adelson case also took place in Florida, not the same county, but also took place. There were also jailhouse recordings that were leaked. And you could just tell the mirrored narcissism. Now, Charlie was more intelligent than Wade is, and Charlie didn't commit the same kind of crime, but the vibe, the personality is very eerily similar, in my opinion, and their obsession with just talking about themselves all the time. And of course, I'm not a psychologist, and that's why I always give the disclaimer at the beginning of these videos of no, I'm not a medical professional. I'm not going to diagnose him with anything because I have no idea. But he does remind me a lot of some of the customers that would come into my job as a dancer, and I could tell you right off the bat, this was the kind of guy that I absolutely dreaded when they walked in and they locked eyes with me, because I knew they were always the ones that were so quick to throw around their rent money, their stack of singles, right? Throw it down on the bar, act like they have all this money in the world when really it's their rent money. But then when it came to actually giving you money and paying you for their time, they would always cheap out. Or they'd be the kind of guy that had absolutely no money, but wanted to do a 10-minute dance and try to get a little funny with their hands and do everything because they're entitled. They're entitled people. And what I would rather prefer is, like, you're the kind of guy that I would rather sit at the bar with the smelly guy who's being nice to me and not making me feel like a disgusting human being. That's the energy that you give, Mr. Wade Wilson.
Kelly's come out Kelly's come out and wrote Channel 4 or something and did this big story with them about what you had done to her.
So Kelly's his
And,
ex, by the way.
you know, if something would have happened, you know, to you then, that you wouldn't have been able to do this to these girls, which I guess is true, you know. But, you know, I sent her a message, dude, and I said, listen, this isn't your time. This time right here is for these women who they were still looking for the second one. You know, I said, stop trying to hog the media. You know what I mean?
That's what she's trying to do too. She's trying to get all the time for herself.
She's trying to get the attention, and I said to her, I said, you need to stop because you know they're still looking for this other woman, and this is not your time for that. So I can't believe she did that.
Yeah. Okay, he's like, oh, I can't believe Kelly would speak about this. Like he's almost like trying to distance himself from the crime itself that he committed, and he knew how horrible and awful it was. But he's also trying to be like win brownie points with his dad, I feel like, too. And you know why? Because he wants to elicit things from people. That's what he does. He's a user. He's a loser and he's a user because he can't fend for himself. He's forever this overgrown, immature man child who cannot take care of himself. So he has to steal from the people that he allegedly cares about. And he gets mad when they tell him no. I'm not going to give you money all the time. You do need to take accountability. It's always everybody's fault with him. And he doesn't like that he's the one who's not getting spotlighted right now, or he doesn't have control over the narrative, but his ex-girlfriend does. And, you know, I don't know about the early interviews, you know, that Kelly was doing or not doing. I've heard her speak on a couple of channels before about her situation. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that she is a survivor of this at the hands of this evil man. And I give kudos to her bravery in speaking up. I don't know how I feel about his dad and his feelings, but I mean, I agree, maybe, yeah, a little too soon, but her story was definitely helpful, I'm sure, for building the case against him. I mean, if not for just her, but Mila too, because she was also a victim the day that these unfortunate events occurred as well too. And I think putting all those together, in fact, an interview, the police interview of Mila was just released earlier today, like a few hours ago. And I wanted to go over that in this video, but copyright. So I got to get permission before I can do a breakdown of that. But I can imagine, I mean, from what I've seen of that, and I've heard of Mila's testimony. It's just absolutely heartbreaking and tragic, and it's just pure evil. Like, this is what evil looks like. And for all you women who are romanticizing this guy, knowing well what he did, shame on you. Shame on you, shame on you, shame on you. And you need to get help because that is absolutely deplorable. And what happened to these women because of his actions is absolutely horrendous, and no one should ever have to deal with that.
Yeah.
Did Mila say anything or no?
She hasn't said anything. I mean, the news report that, you know, she helped, you know, lead them to you, and and you know that they said something about, you know, your father and all that. So
what do you?
I don't know. They
about my father, about you?
Yeah. They said one of the stories said that, you know, when the marshals came to the house, that when you answered the phone, you just said, you know, I'll come out. I just want to talk to my dad or my father or whatever. So, which, I mean, I don't, you know, listen, I don't care. Wade, I'm sorry, dude.
Yeah, I know that.
Okay? I love you. This shit is tearing me up, okay? I can't even tell you how much this is tearing me. But I feel like I told you yesterday, I feel like I worried what was coming.
Yeah.
You know?
So they're not going to be, they're definitely not.
So that's interesting too, because I feel like in some way he knew something was that. And I don't know what kind of relationship that they had prior to this event, but I know that they weren't particularly close. I think this like didn't bring them closer, but it did rekindle, I guess, in a way their relationship, or just respark contact between one another. So I would be curious to know how close they were or not were prior to all of this, but I mean, again, he's getting tons of support from his adopted family. Um, they're still, fighting alongside him. I can't imagine what they're going through too, because I mean, it's like you love this person to death and you feel like you maybe it's your own fault and maybe it's hard for them to see past all of the things because he's your son, and maybe you blame yourself in a way. I'm only speculating here, but I mean, this guy is an absolute monster and I cannot stand him.
You're not going to be sympathetic to me, especially since it took a medical examiner to fucking identify the second girl.
Well, but like I said, they still haven't. They still haven't announced it.
Yeah.
They went to her family, and told her family that they think, they said that the body has similar characteristics of, she was a bartender at the Moose Lodge.
Diane Ruiz.
So, what did you stop to give her a ride?
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah.
She got in the fucking car with you?
Mhm.
He's like, yeah, that sounds like a good alibi. Like, and things just it took a turn for the worse. So that's another weird thing too that I've seen online that's circulating, is like people have this weird, like the Wade widows, right? They have this weird theory that he was saving her from human trafficking. I'm like, are you absolutely out of your mind? How disrespectful could you be? What evidence do you have to support that claim? That is disgusting. It's dangerous, and that needs to stop. You need to stop peddling around dumb theories like that because you're mad that this guy who you think is so handsome and beautiful and dreamy, you can't fathom the fact that he could do like that. But again, that's why they're comparing him to Ted Bundy, because everybody thought he was a nice guy, right? How could he do it? He's Ted Bundy. He's, Ted. What a great guy. Jeffrey Dahmer, when everybody was romanticizing him, which was ultra bizarre. Monsters are ugly.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was it. Yeah. So they said the body had similar characteristics to what?
They said that the body had similar characteristics of, the lady that was missing from the Moose Lodge or walking down the street. I'm assuming maybe the clothes or something matched or something.
Probably the clothes. That's what they asked me about, the clothes, what clothes she was wearing and stuff like that, and all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're not gonna. You think they're not gonna give me like the death penalty or anything, are they?
Wade, listen.
Yeah.
I mean, the man knew. He's like, they can't unalive me, right? Like, it wasn't, I mean, it was bad, but it wasn't that bad, right? Like, this isn't high school, Wade, where you smoked a little too much Mary Jane and then you get kicked out of school, right? Or you're selling substances to your friends under the bleachers at the football game. Or you're spray painting the brick wall, the handball court. That's not what this is. You took the lives of two innocent people. And you're in Florida, buddy. And Florida don't play around like that. Florida don't play around like that, buddy boy. As you've come to learn, and I hope you are pooping your pants.
I can't answer that. I'm not going to tell you yes or no. I don't know if it's a capital crime. I think it has to be like premeditated capital crime or something. But I'm not sure, son.
I wouldn't mind that, to be honest with you.
Okay, well, listen. All you can do, your first step was you did the right thing by being honest.
Okay.
Second step is you have to work on yourself a little bit and figure out what it is that triggers you like that. We know it's drugs.
I mean, that is like the understatement of the century, is like, you need to work on yourself, Wade. And I'm sure he's not the first one to say that, like, from years ago. But I think this is like a really interesting conversation and it feels in a way kind of invasive, but these are, he even said it, like, I know these are recorded, like, I don't know who, he knows that at some point this is going to come to surface his father. So, and Wade clearly doesn't understand how that works because, well, as you come to find, if you continue to listen to more of these jailhouse recordings, he just don't give a flying fuck. He don't. He does not care. But I think, I mean, this is like the best possible like advice I guess you can give in a situation like this is like you need to figure out what is going on with you. Like, why are you so triggered by women? What in your life? And not only for you, but for everybody else too, for the families, the victims' families to maybe understand, get a little bit of clarity and closure. Not that you ever really can, but and more importantly for people to learn in the future, learn signs. And that again, that's why I think it's important for us to share these calls, not for an entertainment perspective, but from a learning perspective of how can we look for signs. Maybe our partners, our friends, family members, random guys asking for directions on the street. I mean, how horrible is it that we live in a day and age today where something as simple as somebody asking for directions could be an underlying nefarious reason for them doing that. Like, I think about this all the time when I'm even getting in the elevator of my apartment complex, right? Where I feel generally safe. I have no reason not to. But you never know. You never know. You always have to keep your guard up. And I feel like it's hurting our society in a lot of ways because our social skills are plummeting as humans. I mean, the fact that my niece is going to grow up in this world where everybody is just completely antisocial and you can't even go into a bar and have a conversation, meet somebody new, or go on a blind date or meet somebody online without being like, oh, they're a predator. Oh, they are here to harm me. I have to wear my safety guards. Like, it's horrible that we live in a day and age like that today. But it's just a fact. It's just where we are now as society.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Definitely. Yeah.
We know it's drugs, number one, but number two, why is it always women? Why are you so mad with women?
Why?
I don't know because I don't know.
You got to work that out, son. You know, is it your biological mom? You feel like she abandoned you, or I mean,
No, I don't think it's anything to do with it. I don't think it's anything. I think it's like
Okay.
a power thing or something. I don't know.
I
Ding,
do
ding,
too,
ding.
and that's what I think. I think it's a
Yeah.
control thing.
Yeah, it is.
You know,
Yeah.
I think it's a control thing. And
I do too, because boy, if you tried to lay your hands on another dude, you would get your butt handed right back to you, and you know it. Because at the end of the day, you're a little bee. You're a little boy, man child, honey buns, sugar lips, Wilson, 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 who never grew up, who feels entitled to everything, including women and their bodies. And you're a loser. You're a complete and utter loser. You are. You're a scumbag. You're an absolute scum of the earth. Like, worse than piece of gum stuck to my shoe. Scumbag. And I don't, like, as good as advice I think this is from his dad, I mean, I think he's aware too, but like, it's going in one ear, going out the other. Because you can't, like, he's so far gone, there's no helping him. Because he doesn't care. There's no remorse. This is what evil looks like.
you know what? You just admitting that is a big step.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because at least you can own that a little bit. That doesn't change what happened.
You didn't hear from Mila, did you?
I didn't. No, I sent it when I got in the truck.
I think she changed her phone number, man.
I mean, I would have too.
Maybe.
Because
I'm sure she probably would have because she's probably getting all kind of calls and shit, you know?
Oh, for sure. Definitely.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. But, and the other problem is, she's the victim of one of your charges, so I don't know that legally you should be calling her.
Yeah, probably not. But the worst they can do is give me a fucking misdemeanor charge. I don't really care.
Well, I'm just
See, and that's the thing is, like, he doesn't care. He does not care, and people like this, like, career criminals are better off in jail, are better off in prison. Not only just for society, but, like, they don't know how to actually function as normal human beings in society, and they deserve to be in prison. They need to be in prison. They need that structure. They need to be so out of control because when they are in the real world, all they want is what they want. All they can think about is themselves, their desires, their needs. Everything else is just a pawn in that plan to get what they want. And it's dangerous to have people like him out on the streets.
just saying, on her end, she's probably not going to answer it because there's probably like a no contact order or something.
You would
Probably.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So on her end, she's probably not going to answer the damn phone.
probably not.
So
Right. Probably right. Probably right, man.
So
are you at work right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just took a break to talk to you, but
Yeah.
no, I was just listening. I was just saying, I can't fucking sleep, dude. I can't fucking eat. I'm just I'm so fucked up. It's okay. I mean, it's your fault, but it is what it is. I'm just saying, I just have so many questions in my mind. Like, I try to think, like, could I maybe have done something a little different, maybe
Nope.
to try to, I don't know.
Nope.
I just feel bad for the whole situation. I feel horrible for these innocent girls. I feel bad for, I feel bad that you're 25 years old, dude. There's so much life for you.
Do you think, guys, too, at this moment, like, he's really processing the gravity of it and, like, what his dad is saying? Do you think he's coming down from anything? And because he does seem a little bit out of it, in my opinion, to me. Um, Whereas, like, in other conversations, but he's also talking to his dad, so and it's more serious, more closely related to the events that took place. So I don't know if, like, this is, like, him playing scared little boy, like, who's getting reprimanded, like, spanked by his dad, or and he's trying to put up, like, his best behavior. Because even when he talks about his dad too, with, like, some of these girls, like, he's always gotta be, like, tough guy, Mr. Tough Guy, like, in the last call that was just recently dropped a couple of hours ago, he's talking to Kiosk Kristen, which they call her, one of the girls that used to phone him up, or he used to phone up, back when he initially got charged, and I guess at the time she didn't believe that he could have committed it, but she saw him on TV and was like, "Oh, let me reach out to him." I'm fairly certain that's how that went down, which is just bizarro land, in my opinion, that any woman would look at him and be like, "Oh, this is what you are being alleged to have done? You seem like a great guy to write to." You know, it's a Friday night, feeling a little spicy. Let me see what Wade's doing. What's going on in Wade's world? Like, the way he talks to the women that he interacts with, it's a totally different energy, it's a totally different vibe. Granted, at that point, he was a little bit more maybe acclimated to prison life. I mean, he had been in and out of jail, it seems like, prior to that, but now, I mean, he knows he's not likely getting out, but the way he talks about his dad in some of these calls too is just, "Oh, that cracker, he doesn't make enough money to support me in my prison lifestyle." It's like, "But what are you doing, dude? What did you contribute when you were out in society? Did you ever have a job? Did you ever bring anything but headaches and misery and torture and tragedy to all of those around you? Or did you actually do something productive and positive in the real world? I would love to know because all these people love to highlight, like, "Oh, this is who he was. He was so nice to me. He was so charming. My parents liked him. Blah, blah, blah. Like, look at him. He's holding a puppy. He's so nice. He has dimples." Stop romanticizing this monster. Stop. That doesn't mean anything. That does not mean anything. I mean, again, you look at Ted Bundy. Ted Bundy had a family. He had a wife who loved him. He was the greatest guy in the world to everybody around him. Charming, handsome, allegedly. And he talks about, "Oh, I hope they I hope they put me on a backup on S block or whatever. I need to move. I'll run whatever block I'm assigned to." Like, no, you're not, dude. You're not this tough guy. This isn't GTA. This is real life, buddy. Grow the crap up.
I don't know.
I can't believe that dude Tommy's got on the TV and said something.
Yeah, he was on. He was on there talking. He looks like a character.
He is a character, man. He is.
When was he with Mila? Before you met him in the Keys?
Yeah, but when I met him in the Keys, him and Mila had broken up, and when he brought me to Fort Myers, he tried to reconcile with Mila, and he brought me over there to hang out too, and she liked me and stuff, so me and her just got together and kicked him out of the picture, and he's never liked me ever since then. He talked a lot of shit, like he was gonna kill me and stuff, and that's why, every time I saw him, showed up he never did anything, so. Whatever.
Well, I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to tell you something that really looked bad. I was watching a couple stories online, and a lot of the media, what they're doing now is they've gone back and they've pulled your whole record. So they see the shit in Palm Beach. They see all of it. And it looks horrible. I mean, honestly, looking at it on paper, it looks horrible. There's so many fucking charges. Domestic violence. It.
Say what now? Oh, some DV charges? Yeah. I'm fairly certain they're referring to the report that Kelly, your ex-girlfriend, the one that you bit/beat nearly to death, tied up with garbage bags and dirty laundry, threw her in the back like a dirty laundry bag, and R'd her. Yeah, that doesn't really make you look like a guy who's eligible for parole, in my opinion, or some guy who's gonna get off with a slap on the wrist, or a guy who's gonna get any kind of bail or a house arrest. I just like how his dad is kinda like, "Do you understand, like, you're a scumbag. Like, you're not a good guy, and none of your life choices have helped your case. Like, everything is just piling on, piling on. There's no way out of
It
it."
looks bad. So.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean.
And they put that on the news?
Yes.
Yeah. So if they have a trial for me, they can't even do the trial in this city. They're gonna have to do the trial somewhere else because I
don't think they would be able to get a fair jury. But but here's my thing, Wade. What are you going to take to trial, son? I mean what did you tell the detectives last night?
There is none.
What did you tell them?
Everything.
When they talked to you, you told them the truth.
Yeah. You told me to.
Well, because I feel like, Wade, listen. I'm not going to encourage you to tell them lies, okay? I mean, I encourage you to tell the truth because it's not just you that's suffering here. There was innocent families, dude, that are suffering.
Yeah, I know.
Your family's suffering. Candy's so upset she won't even answer the phone. She won't even answer my calls.
You're kidding me.
Because I think she's totally blocked it out now because she is worried. She's just concerned, dude, and she loves you and shit, and she's upset. So
yeah.
I don't know. I just want, I don't know what to tell you.
I feel like he's faking a lot of sympathy, like, when he says things like, "Oh, you're kidding me," like, really, like eliciting what he believes to be true human emotion by feeling concerned about what his adopted mother feels and thinks about all of this and how she's so upset she can't even answer the phone. Because that's how disturbed and just horrified she is by the whole situation, disturbed and upset. And he just can't, like, in his brain, But again, it's like we've seen clips of the trial, we've seen testimony, and if you followed it closely, you saw it all. I don't even think the defense made opening statements.
Can you talk a little bit about how did any of the fanfare going on online impact this trial, do you think?
I don't
So again, this is after he received the death
think it
penalty.
impacted the trial at all. It's just very unusual. I've never been involved in anything like this before. I don't know how many tens of thousands of people are communicating with him or communicating with each other about him. There's donations that are set up for him, and it's just, I think it's ridiculous. But there's a lot of people that think otherwise.
So even his attorney thinks it's absolutely ridiculous that women, and maybe men too, are donating to fund his defense. And I mean, that's absolutely wild. So yeah, I don't think there were any opening statements. They didn't call any witnesses. I know that for a fact as well too. And I think it's because I mean, especially if you're a public defender too, like you don't have necessarily a stake in the game. Whereas, like we've seen mirroring when we look at the Karen Reed case, how passionate Alan Jackson, David Yannetti are. Now Marty Weinberg as well, Eliza Little, how passionate and committed they are to their client's innocent, because that's what happens when you actually believe somebody isn't guilty of a crime that they are alleged to have commit. But in this case, I mean, when your own attorney is saying, "Hey, I've never seen anything like this before where there are women fawning over my client like Ted Bundy." I mean, but also too, like, what was going on with that tie? What was going on with that tie? Mr. Wade Wilson's attorney. Wait, let me I gotta look at that tie again. Just to spark some joy in just all this craziness. But just to read a little bit, yeah, they voted 9-3 in favor of the death penalty, and 10-2 in Diane Ruiz's unaliving. New capital punishment law, yeah, signed by Ron DeSantis, which we went over in my last video as well too. He's one of the first people, I think, since this law was signed, that I think it doesn't need to be unanimous. It just needs to be the majority to vote for capital punishment. It was kind of anticipated, he said on Tuesday, his lawyer. And it takes quite a bit of extra evidence in a Spencer hearing to convince a judge to override. So they knew. The unfortunate thing is we didn't have a lot of other information to provide to the court. We gave what we had. This was his attorney. Look at his library tie. He's got like, wait, I gotta pull it up once this ad is done. Oh, that's not gonna show it. But can we look at this tie? They are literal library books, sir. Who is buying your ties? Now he's 30. Newsweek asked Shirley if the convicted unaliver muttered anything to his legal team after the ruling. He said, "No, not at all. I mean, we've been discussing this with him for quite some time. He understands the law. He understands what it takes to override a jury recommendation." In an email sent last month, Shirley told Newsweek that he also worked on the televised State versus Joseph Zeller, also a capital unaliver trial, but has never have seen the very unusual fanfare surrounding Wilson's case on social media. I've never been involved in anything like this, just like you stated before. At the time of the publication, a Fundly fundraiser, yeah, so this was the one I was talking about, created to save Stephen Wade Wilson, as the judge mistakenly called him, and he was a little peeved at. That was fun. Helped us prove his innocence and fight for a new fair trial, because they're alleging there's judge biases, that they're connected to somebody, I think, I feel like that, like, Wade's connected. It's weird. Has raised nearly $74,000 of its $100,000 goal. That includes a donor only identified as Jeanette contributing a whopping 24 grand, an anonymous donor of $10,000. Our donation campaign aims to raise funds to help Wade Stephen Wilson afford a reputable, specialized, and competent legal defense team. You're going to need way more than that because, like, I don't know, like all the expert witnesses in the world, I don't think could convince a jury otherwise. To take over his case and appeal his upcoming sentencing on August 27th, which just passed. This campaign is not a debate about innocence or guilt, but about the right to a fair and objective trial. So, like, even some of these people are realizing that. And you know what? Like, somebody like this, I mean, yes, because, like, by law, of course, we all need to agree, like, we all deserve due process. And if we say that one person doesn't deserve it over everybody else, then that jeopardizes somebody who's actually innocent in their right to a fair trial, like Karen Reed, for instance, who's factually innocent. But people like this, now Karen Reed obviously has her support too, but I mean, this is just bizarro. Filing appeal. So immediately filed an appeal for his death sentence on Tuesday. The appeal goes straight to the Florida Supreme Court, but will be a long, lengthy process. Earlier this month, Judge Thompson denied a motion for Wilson to be acquitted or get a new trial for Melton's murder. Was he scared of his client? I think this is interesting. Last month, Shirley told Newsweek in an email, Mr. Wilson is very intimidating, but he also appreciates good representation. Once he realized what we were doing for him, he was not adversarial and never has been with the rest of our staff. When questioned about Wilson's tattooed cover face, which includes 3 inked World War II bad guy symbols and a Joker-inspired Stitch smile, Shirley confirmed Wilson was permitted, to use makeup in an attempt to cover them, but the products were ultimately insufficient. I mean, I don't think anything could cover that. No makeup in the world. You'd have to get like a professional to do that. Mr. Wilson created his appearance while in custody. Yeah, because he's a dumb FUCK. He has never expressed his reasons. My colleague successfully argued for a procedure to cover up the tattoos. However, when that did not work, I attempted to use that to show his mental instability. Yikes. 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 So that's from Wade Wilson's attorney, according to Newsweek. But let's finish up this call, shall we, between him and his father, biological father, Steve.
All I can
I
tell
mean, I
you
know. I mean, I did the right thing then, for sure.
you did the right thing. Listen to me. Because, you know, by not doing the right thing, people can look at you and say, "Oh, look at him. He's a psychopath."
They're still going to say that.
Wasn't on
that, right?
They're still going to say that. But one thing that you can, in your heart, know is, you know what? I fucked up. I told the truth.
Yeah.
You know, I told the truth. I did the right thing, as hard as it was to do.
Yeah.
You did the right thing. So at least, that girl, the second girl, she had an 8-year-old daughter too, which I didn't realize until last night. No, dude, she had an 8-year-old daughter and a 15-year-old son.
Yeah, see, I think that was Diane Ruiz he's speaking about. It's like, again, he's trying to elicit what he believes to be genuine emotions that humans, I guess he learned or observed around him, express in moments of sadness and tragedy. But he doesn't care. He's like, oh, she's got kids. Oh, that's terrible. Like, it's such a bizarre conversation because it almost sounds like this is his father talking to somebody about something that his kid did. And Wade is like that person he's telling the story to. And he's like, whoa, like, that's so crazy, man. I can't believe it. That's so wild. Wow, really? She had kids? 8 and 15. Wow. Like, that's the kind of bizarro land that he's living in.
You know? So imagine, bro, their mom was gone. So at least now they can bury her. They can grieve.
Yeah.
They deserve that, dude. They deserve that.
That's true.
You know, and the first girl, she deserves that.
Yeah.
So you know, it's a bad situation, dude.
It is a bad situation. It is a really bad situation.
It's a bad situation.
You don't want to talk
So,
about it no more.
I don't know.
You see how he's trying to get off of it now too? He's like, yeah, all right, but like anyways, are you gonna fill up my bank account? Are you gonna fill up that kiosk though?
I don't have much advice when it comes to this because I've never been in that situation before to this scale like you're at.
Yeah.
But all I can say to you is you did the right thing by being honest.
Yeah.
And now you just have to
take it as it comes.
You're just gonna have to lay down and wear it, son.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what else to say to you. Did you order your canteen? I put some money in there.
No, man, I have to get. They're supposed to be letting me go tomorrow, so I should be able to order it tomorrow, and I'll get it like next. I think they get it on Tuesday, as long as I can order it by like Sunday. And if I don't make it out by that time, you know, they don't take any money out of there, so whatever you put in there will stay there. They won't take anything from it. So whenever I get out of here, I'll be able to order. So.
All right, and I'll try to get down there and see you again soon. I mean, I don't know.
Please.
I don't know. It didn't take as long to get home as it did to get there. I don't know why, but
all right.
No.
All right,
so,
please, Dad. Please come
I don't know.
when you can, man. If you want.
I will.
Right.
I will. But listen, I'm telling you, don't talk to people in there.
You have 1 minute remaining.
All right, Dad.
Not that they're not. Is there TVs in there?
Yeah, fuck yeah, they're gonna see it.
Okay, they've already seen it then.
They've already seen it.
In there. They've already
But
seen
have they released my face? They have, right?
Yes. They
Obviously.
showed you at first appearance court. They've got your picture posted everywhere, dude. It's everywhere. Every fucking where.
Oh, great. Okay.
So it's everywhere.
Great.
So if there's TVs in jail, they've all seen it.
They've all seen it. Okay.
So
all right, Dad.
just
Well,
protect yourself.
I will.
Protect yourself and just be honest, dude. That's gonna save you, and that's gonna save your soul, bro.
All right, Dad.
What he's talking about.
Okay.
All right.
I love you. And I'll talk to you soon.
All right, Dad. Bye.
Okay. All right. Bye.
I want to give a big shout out to Jumpsuit Pop.
So yeah, and Jumpsuit Pablo does a lot of commentary. He's done commentary for every single voice recording, jailhouse call recording that's come out by this channel. So also go follow phone calls from prison as well too, who is sharing these phone calls. Like I said, I know it's hard to listen to because he's talking about, that's not the one where he's like, oh, it looked like spaghetti. But that was the first initial call. If you guys want me to do more commentary on more of these jailhouse recordings, let me know. I'm more than happy to do that because I think it's important, like I said, to just keep spreading awareness and keep helping people understand that, yeah, these are innocent people's lives who were taken away so tragically. And there's so much garbage out there online of people just making light of the situation, people romanticizing this evil man. And I get like some of the calls too with Kiosk Kristen, like Jumpsuit Pablo is hilarious. Like he's done a really great job of keeping the tone light when it can be light and when it needs to be more serious. He's doing a great job of balancing that. But we can't forget the truth and the reality of the situation. That's this man committed the most heinous of heinous crimes to these two poor women, and their lives deserve never to be forgotten. Of this chick Marion Worth, who set this up, $74,385. Like that's how many people approximately, probably more, that don't have the money, because everybody who he attracts into his sphere is also broke losers like him. For like, look at them. They're like, oh, look, he's so handsome, such a nice boy. 403. And like, I love it because they want to say like, oh, he's just misunderstood because he's got face tattoos. You know who else has face tattoos? Post Malone. Post Malone's like living his best life, not doing stuff like this. So like, let's not give people who have face tattoos a bad stigma, because that doesn't mean anything. He's just a deplorable human, and he didn't have these face tattoos until he got to prison while he was awaiting trial. So let's keep it a buck. Let's look at some of the comments. Danny Ray. $1,080. Dear Wade, my support for you will always stay no matter what. Stay strong. Screw you, Danny Ray. Lexi Gordon, I am against the DP. Wade deserves a fair trial. Jenna Jag, 200, comes in. You know that's all going to the kiosk, right? My love and support is with Wade. Always save Wade Wilson. From what? Justice for Wade. How about justice for Diane Ruiz and justice for Christine Melton? Praying for you, Wade. Just know you are loved. Justice for Wade and a fair trial. Please keep donating, everyone. There's only a short distance to go. Team Wade. You delusional pack of fools. He confessed 3 times on recorded calls from jail. They have DNA. Well, why did you donate them $5? Like, I wouldn't donate crap. And I see 3 people today. They really seem to be hiding a lot. Wade deserves a retrial, not the death penalty. So there's a lot of people who believe that he didn't get a fair trial. There was some kind of bias between the judge. I don't know. I gotta dig more into that. But like, it's Bizarro Land. It's Bizarro Land. And if we go back to our girl, Mary. Had this on all caps. Where was it? I just had this. Here it is.
That had to create more than one in the same day. They have certain ways at the jail where it always cuts off or by 11 more than that, you know. And I got to know of his case. And I just got invested from there. Honestly, I was a little bit surprised that he even accepted me. He had no idea who I was. I know he just receives names and areas that they live in when he does get a request. So I was honestly pretty shocked that he even answered and responded to me. You know, when we built our friendship, I made sure that he was aware that I was very familiar already with his case. I had done some research into it because I've always had interest in watching court cases and hearing what they're all about. But we didn't really initially honestly speak much about his case. We really just took the time to be able to get to know each other on a friendship level. And I got to know things came to, he was willing to tell me his full story. So I really got a good picture of everything that did truly happen.
So what happened, Marie? And like, again, we'll get into this, but like, just to show some of the dimness of these people.
And really, Wade has grown so much over the last 5 years. He's not by any means the person that he used to be, right? He understands the importance of trust and quality in his friendships. And that's why I really like to reiterate the fact that even though we've only known each other for a few months, you know, the amount of time doesn't necessarily.
But like, here's the thing, Marie, is like, it doesn't matter like if he's changed, because a lot of the jailhouse call recordings that we just listened to, like the one we just listened to, that was from 5 years ago, right? So fast forward 5 years, yeah, maybe he is a changed person, maybe he is clean, but I don't believe that, because he was just in a hearing today for substance trafficking. So how much have you really learned, Wade? And you've gotten even better at manipulating women into doing what you want them to do. No, I don't think you've learned anything. And regardless whether you have or not, if you have really learned, you would accept the sentencing that you got. You would. You would accept it. You would take it like a man, not like the man child you are, but like a freaking man, and own up to it and say, you know what? I did these awful things. This is what a jury of my peers decided. And you know what? These families deserve better. And like, we haven't heard him say anything to the families, address them, nothing. Not even at sentencing. And even if he did speak, I wouldn't really buy any fake level of remorse, because I just don't think. I think he's so far gone into whatever kind of psychopathy. He's gone. He's gone. Like, you don't come back from that. There are certain people who just cannot be brought back.
Isn't necessarily an indicator of the strength of our relationship. Just by us taking the time to get to know each other, we've just really created a stable foundation to our decisions on his behalf.
With you saying y'all speak several times a day, a lot of the times I'm going to go ahead and ask this. Is it a tablet that he has? The kiosk that we hear about, is that a tablet or is it a...
It is. So I laugh over the kiosk. So he does. He has, I always laugh over the kiosk now. He does have access to tablets, typically. I will say that. Now, his access, it's normally from around, 7. As of right now, understandably, he's had all communications cut off with him. So he has not had access to these tablets since pretty much Saturday, August 10th. Now, these tablets are a little bit different than his kiosk. His kiosk, he did still have some access to it. I do believe that's been fully cut off at this point as well. But the kiosk allows him to accept and reject requests through Smart Inmate. It does not allow him to do anything further than that. His tablets, he has 2 different tablets that he's utilized. One specifically for phone and entertainment needs, and then one's for messaging. Again, he has very, very minimal access to these tablets since he's in jail. He has time restrictions that he can normally use it within. And these tablets really only have a couple of apps that they can actually download. I know I mentioned this previous on our live, but he has access to certain streaming sites like a Pandora for music. It's not necessarily Pandora, but something similar. He has access to be able to read up on news. He gets movies, which are updated once a month, and a few games. I know I mentioned last time one called Merge Block, but it's really not much other than that.
Oh, poor baby. Poor baby. He only has a couple of games to play and movies that, come on now. This sounds like a freaking, vacation for this guy.
One thing I can't stress enough is the fact that we have to remember he's still in jail. He has no access to internet, access to get to Google or any other form of search engines that the public may use. He absolutely has no access to social media. So that's why he has his team running his verified social media account.
His team, they're treating him like a freaking PR guy. And I'm not going to go into this whole just trash interview. I don't know anything about Strange Embers podcast, but they're essentially plugging this woman and giving her a platform, and I just don't subscribe to that. So if you want me to do a breakdown of that interview, because I haven't listened to it in full, but there's one point where she's like, people ask me what's he watching? What does he like to read? And she acts like he's an avid reader, and I'm not really buying that. I'm like, this guy probably doesn't even know what 2 + 2 is. He's so out there. He's so dim, and he makes my brain melt when he speaks.